G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Truen. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it.
Welcome, everyone. Today I'm interviewing Tim Reid of the Small Business Big Marketing Show, where Tim shares his marketing insights and tips to help small business owners build their beautiful business, as he calls them, of theirs into an empire it deserves to be. So, and today he'll be discussing helpful marketing for small businesses. So thanks for your time, Tim.
Hey, Michael, thanks for even thinking of having me, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's good. And I guess where we know each other, it's the first time we've met, but I've been listening to your podcast for quite a while. And
you're the one.
I'm the one. I'm sure I'm not the one. Really insightful and always something out of them, which we try to do the same with our podcast. So, great to have you aboard. So, I guess with respect to your topic of helpful marketing, maybe just give us, our audience, a bit of an insight into your experience with this and how you can help them.
Right. Well, I suppose I start from the point, Michael, that there's never been a better time to market a small business. I mean, I think you'd have to agree on that. Whilst the marketing world's it feels complicated. There's a lot on offer. There's a lot of bright, shiny objects. There are also a lot of services, bits of hardware, software that make creating marketing for small business incredibly easy. And if you want to start at the most basic, then, look what's in your pocket, in your smartphone. So I say, so many business owners think this modern world of marketing is super expensive. And it's like, well, that smartphone's got a broadcast quality camera, broadcast quality microphone. You can do email marketing from it, social media marketing from it. It's bananas what you can do from just literally that. So, I think from a mindset point of view, before I talk about helpful marketing, I think any small business owner listening just wants to get it straight in their head that this marketing caper is fun, it's accessible, it's not as expensive as you think. And my dream with the Small Business Big Marketing Show, which is my podcast, is that I help small business owners make marketing a hobby. When something's a hobby, Michael, you find time for it, you find the money, the energy, you put it in your diary, you can't wait to do it. And marketing should be like that. I have a particular interest and bent for what I call helpful marketing, which is pretty bloody simple. It's just, creating marketing that solves the problems that your customers have so that they can make a more informed purchase decision. So helpful marketing often comes in the form of content marketing, whether it be blogging, podcasting, YouTube channel, social media, these spaces where you have more time to create and solve the problems of your customers. So much marketing is push marketing, where you push your sales message onto someone. Buy now, buy soon, closing now, end of financial year sale. And you have a limited amount of time in a press ad or a radio ad or a letterbox drop to get your message across. So you push your urgent message on the unsuspecting prospect, whereas helpful marketing is more about building trust over time.
Yeah, it's interesting. You certainly see a lot of that push marketing. And the trust factor, no doubt, very important. And particularly, in my sort of main gig and as a business coach, that's sort of part of building that trust and to be able to help business owners. So I get that. And I think I like the point that at the very least, your smartphone is a great marketing tool. So I guess where do sort of small business owners sort of start with that? What sort of insights and tips can you provide?
A great place to start with helpful marketing, Michael, is to so helpful marketing is about out teaching your competition. It's not about outspending them, because that's just the race to the end. It's not about discounting. It's not about finding more dough to buy more ads to do all that kind of stuff. It's about out teaching, not about outspending. Every single business owner, again, a mindset shift here, Michael, is that they are standing on a mountain of knowledge. I don't know who's listening, but let's assume there's a plumber, there's a chiropractor, there's an accountant, there's an e-commerce store owner listening. Every single one of those people has a great amount of knowledge about the industry in which they operate, about the problems the customers have, and about how they can go about solving them. So it's about using that mountain of knowledge that they're standing on. And a great place to start is to create a knowledge center on your website. So I'll get very specific here. On your primary navigation bar, have a knowledge center, learning hub, I don't care what you call it, but behind it are all the big questions that you get asked as a business owner, and you go about answering each one, okay? One by one. One question, one answer per page. It's not an FAQ, long list of FAQs. It's not that. It's much bigger than this, bigger than that. And so, for example, let's say you're a pool builder, and the most frequently asked question you got is, how much does an in-ground pool cost? Well, you'd have, if you were a smart pool builder who loved their marketing, you'd have a page on your website in your knowledge center that went into great detail about how much an in-ground pool costs. I imagine a video from the owner. Google love video. They own YouTube, second biggest search engine in the world. You'd have copy, you'd have graphs, charts, pictures, links to other pages of your website to hold people there. But that becomes an incredibly powerful page, not only from an SEO point of view, because Google are going to rank you well if it's a good answer. It's also great for one-on-one marketing, where if you, to me, Michael, say I'm a pool builder, you come to me and say, hey, Tim, how much does a in-ground pool cost? I'll answer your question face-to-face or on the phone. But at the end, I'll say, listen, can I send you a link to a page on our website that goes into even greater detail? And they'll think you're a bloody legend. So it's a great place to start. Have your marketing radar on. Go and list all the questions you've ever been asked. When you think you've run out, ask your staff. When you think they've run out, go to Google. When you think Google's run out, go to ChatGPT. I did a job I spoke to 400 builders on the weekend down in Brisbane, and I went through this process with them, and we used ChatGPT. I said, hey, ChatGPT, give me 50 questions that builders get asked all the time. And within 3 seconds, I had 50 questions. I mean, it's bananas where this world's going, but this stuff's getting easier and easier.
Yes, as you say, the Chat GTP, that's another world again, right? I actually had talking to Harry Sanders last week, so he'll be on our podcast soon.
Oh,
and that's where I sort of came across Harry on your podcast. That all sort of links in, right? And obviously he was talking about the AI.
Great chat. I got Harry on at the start of this year on the Small Business Big Marketing Show, where we talked about the top 5 trends of SEO in 2023, and number 1 was AI. So
yes,
that'll be a pretty interesting discussion.
Yes, no, certainly very interesting topic, but I think again it's a tool and an enabler. It's not the it's not the silver bullet equally, right?
Not yet.
Well, not yet, exactly. Who knows where that might go, right?
That's right.
But I love that. Yeah, that concept. It's so simple. That knowledge center, and I guess thinking about that. Plenty of websites get frequently asked questions, but what you're saying is take it to another level as far as the detail, embed videos as much as you can to be able to utilise, and obviously that's more efficient with time potentially for the small business owner. And
that's it.
Notwithstanding search engine optimization aspects as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just on search engine optimization, what's your sort of thoughts with respect to that as sort of in context of marketing?
Well, it's pretty important. If you've got a website, you want it to rank. So many business owners, getting a website live is painful. I think we all agree that we only ever want to build one website because it's not a fun process. And hello to all you website developers listening. But the reality is you go through that process, you get your website live, and then you think, well, your job's done. Well, it's not because there's a needle in a haystack. The needle's the website and the haystack's the internet. So SEO helps that needle get found. And I think it's worth understanding how Google works. Again, mindset stuff as opposed to like hardcore go and do this. But when you understand a little bit of the background of how things work, sometimes a little bit of knowledge can be dangerous. Other times it can be very helpful. Mm-hmm. Google doesn't own the internet. Google makes a lot of money from the internet, and Google want the internet to be a super interesting place so that more people come to it, spend more time on it, and Google can sell more ads. Google have software that goes behind your website on a regular basis, indexing every page. So, for example, and when they index a page, they put it in a bucket, in the relevant bucket at Google head office. And there are gazillions of buckets. I don't mean literally, but there is an imaginary bucket at Google head office for financial business coach in Hobart. That is a bucket at Google head office. So when Google have gone around the internet, indexed all the pages and found some pages that somehow either well or half well respond to that search, and they put those pages in that bucket. The page at the top of that bucket is the page that answers that question, that search the best. And as a result, it appears organically on page one of the biggest search engine in the world. So that's worth understanding, because Google don't see a website. They see however many pages a website has. So if your website has 100 pages and they're quality pages, that's 100 opportunities for Google to index your website. And in a press release, when they did a major update to their algorithm called the Hummingbird update, which was all about helpful marketing, by the way, Google said, we want helpful, unique, relevant content produced regularly. So if you kind of listen to that and deliver what the big G wants, then you're setting yourself up to succeed from an SEO point of view. The other part I'd say about SEO, Michael, just to wrap that one up, is it's important, and it saddens me at just how many businesses are getting ripped off by crooks, really, in the SEO business. And obviously I'm not going to name names, but I hear this story far too often. I'm spending $1,200, $1,500, $1,800 a month. They're doing me 2 articles a week. They tell me they're getting some backlinks. The customer doesn't even know, because it's such a freaking complicated area. So SEO is important. Just choose wisely. Don't take on any of these calls you get from India or Philippines or wherever it may be. There's a lot of good stuff happening out of India and the Philippines, but not SEO. You just got to choose very, very wisely.
Want to become the best manager you can be? Check out our Kick-Ass Manager course at growasmallbusiness.com. Do the course and add your fellow managers for no extra cost. Join the 30%. 70% of people quit their job because of their manager.
Yeah, that's a useful tip. It shits me when I talk to clients in the same vein, and you talk about, well, what's the return on investment, and they've got no idea.
No.
So it's just pissing money up against the wall, right? A lot of the times.
They sure are.
So what, just on that, as far as return on investment, have you got any sort of tips around how that should be measured? I mean, obviously there's, in the context of websites and the like, there's a raft of analytics that you can access. What's your sort of thoughts in that context?
The helpful marketing's a funny one. If we're talking about helpful marketing is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You want to sprint, you want to get an inquiry tomorrow, and who doesn't? Then run some Facebook lead ads, for example. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. I mentioned push marketing before.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with push marketing. There's just 2 forms of marketing: push and pull. So and combined, they can work really well. So running some Facebook lead ads where you've got this limited amount of time and space to get your message across, go for it. But from a return on investment from helpful marketing, you can be talking weeks and months.
Yep.
You start a YouTube channel today, or you start a podcast today, or you start blogging today. You might get some inquiry tomorrow, but more likely it'll start to get traction in a month, 2 months, 3 months time. And what I say to my coaching clients who'd go down this path, Michael, is don't look at the scoreboard. Don't see how many likes, retweets, shares, comments you've got. Don't look. Just get on with it and let that take care of itself.
Yeah, that's an interesting comment, because I guess in a general business sense, the scoreboard's obviously important, but it's what's underlying the scoreboard where the focus needs to be. Because as you say, if you get those underlying metrics or aspects that you need to focus on right, the scoreboard will look after itself. So I guess
Spoken
that's
like
sort
a
of
true accountant, Mike.
yeah, exactly. Obviously, you can't measure it, you can't manage it, but equally, there's always context around it, right? So I guess what you're saying, that with respect to helpful marketing, it's doing the things that are going to move the dial on the scoreboard that you need to focus on, right?
Correct.
Yeah, interesting. And you talk about regular content in the context of search engine optimization. So is that could take different forms, I gather?
The form of the content or the regularity of the content?
Both.
Well, in terms of regularity, it sounds like some fibre supplement, doesn't it, for 50-year-old men and over? I don't like putting pressure on my small business owning listeners, but if marketing's a hobby, you will be regular with it. If you can be punching out a couple of question and answers in your knowledge center a week, that'd be absolutely fantastic. If you can only do one, so be it. But just get into some regular habit of doing it, And in terms of what, I've been talking about blogging and podcasting and YouTube channels and social media, and there are so many different channels to market these days. Which one is right for you? My answer to that is the one that you are comfortable with, and in being comfortable with, you're going to do it more often. So if I go rattle on about video and you're just sitting there going, you know what? You're not going to catch me in a million years looking down the barrel of a camera, then, okay, I get it. I could talk you around. I could talk you off that ledge and probably have you doing video pretty quickly. But if it's just scaring you so much, then, hey, why don't we do some writing and do blogging? If you don't like the sound of your voice or the look of your hair, then just write. But again, play to your strengths. Because, like when I started the Small Business Big Marketing Show 14 years ago, no one even knew what a podcast was, including me. And, but I love audio. I love the audio medium. It was my strength. And I saw a big future in it, so I stuck to it. And, that's certainly paid off for me. So play to your strengths, I guess, is the learning there.
Yeah, and obviously be consistent is the other aspect too, isn't it?
Yes.
Because I think that's the challenge of small businesses. They either get distracted or they feel it's not working because they don't get any short-term sugar hits, let's call them, and they sort of go off the rails. So I think, being consistent and playing a longer game rather than necessarily shorter term.
That's it.
Excellent. So what about, can you share some stories just around the helpful marketing topic?
Well, I guess the pool one, that one I referred to earlier is actually a real case study. It's with a crowd called River Pools in Phoenix, Arizona. And they do exactly what I just said, which is to they've gone and identified every question that's ever been asked about having an in-ground pool installed and gone about answering them. Now, the upside of that, the return on that investment is quite significant. They have, on average, got people coming to their website. Okay, go back a step. They rank number one on Google in North America for any search around in-ground pool installation because they've been so helpful. In doing so, when people go to their website, they hang around for 32 minutes on average and look at 18 pages, which is significant. When they decide to ring River Pools, because that website's been so incredibly helpful, they're 60% sold on using River Pools because all this wonderful, helpful content on the website has established trust and credibility. At that point, they've got a few questions to ask, but because River Pools have been so incredibly helpful, they're much less price sensitive. So when you are helpful in your marketing, people become less price sensitive because you've got their trust and you've taken their eyes off the price, if you will. And the other outcome of that helpful marketing play, Michael, is that your advertising spend goes down because you're not having, over time, you're not having to pump as much into Facebook or Google AdWords or whatever it may be, and you are having the opportunity of letting the helpful marketing is marinating. I like to think it is marinating. You put a blog post up or a podcast episode up today, Google haven't seen it yet. It's sitting on your website waiting to be indexed. and it's just sitting there marinating and getting all those lovely Google juices for Google to then come along, index it, and hopefully have it appear on page one.
Yeah, that's great. Is that I read a book a while ago called They Ask You Answer, which was built around a pool story. The author of that. So I just can't remember the name of that. I thought that was in the UK, but not dissimilar.
What was it called? They Ask
You Answer. Oh. I just can't remember the author, but the author was involved with a pool company.
Yeah, right.
I'm pretty sure it was in the UK, but not dissimilar. They built the business on the back of content marketing, which is essentially the crux of the book. So
yeah, got it.
It's worth a read. So that's a good story. So just in wrapping up, then, Timbo, what's at least one thing you'd recommend a small business owner go away and do now from our conversation?
Look, respect marketing, number one. Like, seriously, sit with it. Like, have a good think about what you feel about the marketing of your business. Is it a pain in the ass? Is it an expense? Or do you see it as an investment? Do you enjoy it? Do you avoid it? Do you try to pass it off? Get straight in your head how you feel about marketing and hopefully, develop a greater respect for it. And then as a first step, back to the helpful marketing conversation, use the Notes app in your smartphone as a place to capture all the questions you're ever been asked. Everyone's going to go to work today, tomorrow. You're going to get asked questions from clients, from prospects, and you're going to answer them. And then those answers are going to go out into the ether because you're not recording them, you're not putting them to paper or video or audio. So start to do that and have some fun with it. That's a pretty good place to start. And of course, listen to the Small Business Big Marketing Show, because that's probably, it's the second best business podcast in Australia, isn't it, Michael?
Absolutely. Equal first, mate. Equal first. And back that up, totally recommend it. I'm a avid listener of it, and I love the way you approach it and some of the way you put it in context and the analogies you use. It's very user friendly and easy to understand for small businesses, which I think to your point before, particularly in marketing, can become cloak and dagger and very mysterious. So I think that's so important. A couple of great guests
coming up too. Unusual but good. I interviewed the manager for Fleetwood Mac last week. Had an hour and 40-minute conversation with him about the business of music, and then yesterday I interviewed the world's best ever surfer in Lane Beachley, talking about actually business owner well-being, which is a bit of a sort of side interest of mine, because I do see a lot of business owners. So yeah, some good stuff coming up.
Awesome, mate. No, I appreciate your time, and
thank you for having me.
Hopefully catch up again, and maybe I'll pop in and see you when I'm up in southeast Queensland.
Good on you, Michael. Thank you.
Okay, mate.
That's it. Thanks for listening. Please leave a review in iTunes or whatever platform you listen to us on. It means more small business owners will find our cast and help people with their business growth journey.